All right, guys. So this is going to be part two, the shit that New York Giants fans say. So this New York Giant fan said, quick question, why draft a wide receiver in round one without a QB to throw to them? Now, this is not coming from a place of concern. This is literally coming from a place of hate, a place of hatred, because I've noticed something with our fans. If you do not like Daniel Jones, you think that we don't have a quarterback because, well, he got hurt. And then even if he comes back week one, you don't like him anyways. You'd actually prefer that he doesn't come back. And so now you're like, we don't have a quarterback. But we know that Joe has already said that he's going to be QB1. And so if he's going to be QB1, it kind of makes sense for them to draft a wide receiver if that's the best prospect available. Now, I know the guys that don't like Daniel Jones, in your mind, we should either trade up or Jaden Daniels going to fall, and we should draft Daniels, but there's no guarantee that we will because we don't know how the Giants feel about Daniels. And a lot of y'all are going to be shocked if he is there and we don't draft him. So there's nothing wrong with drafting a wide receiver one because we haven't had one since Odell Beckham. I've seen Giants fans say crazy stuff like, what we have right now is enough. But I've said in my previous video that Rome and Malik are better than what we have right now. And good receivers, especially ones that are talented, they don't need all that extra stuff that Giants fans complain about. Oh, Daniel Jones' ball placement isn't perfect all the time, and so the wide receivers can't catch all of his throws. You don't have to worry about that with Rome and Malik. They're like Odell Beckham. They're just throw it in their direction. They're going to catch it. Like, I literally had Giants fans try to convince me how much better Baker Mayfield is than Daniel Jones. And I said, did you look at his Carolina numbers? Did you look at his Cleveland numbers? They're the same type of quarterback where you just say they're average quarterbacks because realistically, Tampa might pay Baker Mayfield based on the numbers that he dropped, which were significantly better than Daniel Jones's numbers, but he was throwing to two superior wide receivers. Those wide receivers could easily be our number one wide receiver. And so that's what people don't realize. Yes, I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield didn't do a good job this year, but again, new coordinator, top wide receivers, all he has to do is just throw it in the area of Mike Evans, super talented wide receiver. He'll make it happen. Just don't be super off. Just be close in terms of, his catch radius and he'll catch it. We don't have those type of receivers. Like, we've got Hodgins from off of the practice squad, not the same kind of receiver. Bryce Wheaton was supposed to be a really good prospect, but again, not the same type of wide receiver. And so nothing wrong with drafting Malik or Rome if they're the best players available. I would rather draft them than draft the left tackle and then have to convert that left tackle to right tackle. Like, in my opinion, that's the better move. But I'm also fine with drafting Jaden Daniels too. I'm just saying that if you want to go with another quarterback in round two, that's fine. And so this question doesn't make sense to me. Again, another one of those trolls that you are unhappy with the QB1 and you think it's the biggest issue ever and there are no other issues, but we have other things to fix. And wide receiver can be put on that list. No wide receiver one for 6 years is crazy. You can get by with an average quarterback. I don't think that highly of Dak and Jalen Hurts. You could say they're better than Daniel Jones, but to me, they're not game changers. Now, I also want to mention that I am shocked that we did not change the offensive coordinator because, again, a lot of you guys want a new quarterback, but from what I've been seeing with a lot of these new quarterbacks that play well, they generally get new offensive coordinators. So I'm going to add CJ to that list, and Baker was new to Tampa and he got a new coordinator, and that coordinator actually got a new job because he did so well as opposed to our coordinator. We should have got rid of our coordinator, especially if we were looking to replace the quarterback. So as we're speaking about the offensive coordinator, the next take is about the offensive coordinator. So I would say any intelligent New York Giant fan, regardless if you like Daniel Jones or not, you should realize that Kafka is not a good offensive coordinator. If you're hearing things like, oh, the Giants, they played really good in that second half versus Arizona, and they're saying that Dable took over play calling, then yeah, that probably did happen. It wasn't the only time in the season we heard that. So there's that rumor going around that Dave was pretty much doing Kafka's job. And so I think it's crazy that the New York Giants basically told him he can't interview with the Seahawks, because why not? Let them hire him. Now, I don't know what would happen if he were to get hired by somebody else, or if we were to fire him. Obviously, we'd have to hire someone. But a lot of people seem to be confused about offensive coordinators. Everybody seems to acknowledge that Baker Mayfield and CJ Stroud had a really good year, but nobody wants to acknowledge that they had brand new offensive coordinators. Actually, the from Tampa got hired to be the coach for the Carolina Panthers. That's how good he was. This is the same coordinator that was credited for reviving Geno Smith's career as a QB coach. So you can always promote a QB coach to offensive coordinator. You take one from another team. So, there are things that you can do to replace Kafka. I mean, I would love to have a coordinator that can do the job without us having to hear that Dable took over play calling. And so this post right here, which basically says that he's playing devil's advocate, saying what is the offensive coordinator supposed to do with the offensive line and QB position? It doesn't matter, because even if you had a brand new QB that was supposed to be this superstar QB, let's just say we got Caleb or Drake May, Kafka's gonna hold him back, guys. I hate to tell y'all that, but there's a reason why a lot of these new QBs, or even a new QB changes like a Baker Mayfield, there's a reason why they're getting new coordinators. And so if you wanted a new quarterback, we should have gotten a new offensive coordinator too. So I would not be surprised to see Daniel Jones at QB1, and then Gardner Minshew or whoever the hell we sign as a free agent as QB2. And we don't draft a QB, because I know you guys feel like we need a QB this year because everybody's taking a peek at next year's draft and they're saying, oh, the QBs aren't that good. But we really don't know. We don't know. You guys are looking early, and you guys are just disappointed in what you're seeing there, because you see what you have in front of you. I mean, here's the crazy thing. When Tyrod Taylor and TD were winning games, everybody was celebrating. The bad thing about those celebrations is now, because you hate the current QB1, you are starting to be real pissy about the fact that we're not in a position to draft Caleb or Drake or Daniels if he goes, top 3 or top 4 or wherever he's going to go. And so there you have it, guys. I mean, I don't know, man. Kafka, in my opinion, is not a good offensive coordinator. I don't know why we would block him from interviewing. He's obviously Dable's man, and I've always said that I noticed that Wink didn't really say anything about the whole situation, but we know they got into it, and Wink was getting blamed by Dable from what I read. And I think a part of it too is he's probably looking like, I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm actually doing my thing, and your offensive coordinator's ass, and you don't talk to him. It's your offense and your offensive coordinator. Mind you, this is without Daniel Jones. This is with the other two quarterbacks, because a lot of people keep saying that the Giants offense looks so great without Daniel Jones. Only for me to look at the stats and see that we're 31st in passing, and Daniel Jones only played 5 full games, and there are 17 games. So you can't blame Daniel Jones. You can't say, well, he was so bad in the first 5 games. No, the offense was better. It wouldn't matter, because remember, Gardner Minshew was putting up numbers in Indiana. So it's not because Gardner Minshew is significantly better than Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito. It's because Kafka's ass. He sucks. So this last take is actually pretty funny. He says, can we bring Wink back? He doesn't have a job and we need a DC. And this is hilarious, because we know that Wink and Dable don't like each other. And part of what I was reading was they were saying that Dable was blaming Wink and his defense, and Wink was saying, no, it's your offense. And again, my theory is he's like, I'm doing my job as a DC, and you're doing the offensive coordinator's job, and you're not doing it well. So that was my theory, though. I'm not saying that he said anything about Kafka. I have said stuff about Kafka. I think Kafka is ass. I think he's horrible. I think we need a new OC. I think the OC should have been fired, but I understand why the DC was fired if he's really trying to create mutiny between his peoples and the head coach's people. Dable's the head coach, so obviously you got to roll with Dable because he's the top dog. So it is what it is. If he wanted to fire Wink because they can't get along, it makes sense to me. But keeping Kafka does not make sense to me. He's got to go, man. If you got to, I don't. Maybe Dable just likes to have somebody who he can just take his job from. Oh, you're not doing play calling well. Let me take over. Because this doesn't make no sense why this dude is still here, and people are making excuses for him and saying, "Oh, it's the quarterback in the offensive line," but that doesn't explain the situation with Barkley. Sometimes there's some of these plays that we call, and you know it's Kafka calling them. You're like, what's going on here? But yeah, we're not getting Wink back. This is like when people are saying that we should hire Bill Belichick as a DC. Bill doesn't want to be a defensive coordinator, guys. Like, what are we saying? This is almost as crazy as saying Bill Belichick should be a DC again. He doesn't want to do that. He obviously wants to be a head coach if he's still interviewing for head coaching jobs. So this one is just pretty hilarious. And I don't know, maybe he was trolling because this is crazy. This dude would never come back and work here on the Dable. He clearly does not like Dable. And low-key, I'm going to start rumors and say that he doesn't like bum-ass Kafka either. But that's it for the takes, guys. Tell me what you think. Tell me which take you agree with. Give me some feedback.